Hi, I'm Mike Taylor, the voice of Dan Kouzo, and you're watching BakuTalk with Corn Dog Man.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the BakuTalking Longer Podcast. I'm Haru Ren, and I got another special guest here for you today. He has appeared in Bo is Afraid, Fellow Travelers, and Murdoch Mysteries. He is also Cooper in Lego Dreams, but you may know him as Dan Kouzo in the Gen 3 Bakugan show. So here he is, the voice of Dan himself, Drago's hype man, Mike Taylor. How are you doing, man?
Back in Brawlers. Yeah, I'm doing great, man. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Again, thank you so much again for coming onto the show. I'm glad we could just make this happen.
Of course. Thank you for having me on and like all the stuff that you do in regards to Bakugan. You've been at this for a while, years, and you've done great things for each rendition of the show. So thank you.
Oh, thank you so much. Has it really been years? Damn, I feel old now.
Yeah, you're getting old, Haru. Just kidding.
God, I'm getting so old. I already know my memory is already going bad. But like, man, it's been years since Gen 2 Bakugan. That's
my memory's going too. So let's hope I can remember some things for your questions.
How's life been for you since Bakugan? Actually,
it's been great. I mean, like anything in this industry, it's a constant grind. Like, there's no comfortability. You may get on something, and yes, that may last for a while, but there is an end, and it's going to happen, and then it's right back to the grind. So things have been, they've been all right. Like, I was fortunate enough to get on some things that have continued, like Lego, for instance. There's a couple other things they're not out yet, so I don't really know the specifics of that confidentiality clause, so I don't know if I can talk about it or not, but it's been all right. I had my knee surgery, which kind of threw away, I would say, a good portion of the year, if not all of the year. Like, when we did that little live thing, like, my knee was still pretty bad then.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I was like just kind of holding it up and then doing it as we went, and because it's an ACL surgery, right? So my ACL was completely torn, my meniscus was all torn up, and I had no cartilage in my knee.
Oh, Jesus. That's bad.
Yeah, so they did like a quad graft surgery for it, like a repair. And yes, it takes like athletes 6 to 7 months. But I'm not in the NBA. Okay, yeah. I'm just a regular guy. So it's still like it's doing all right now because it's been, I think it's coming on 7.5, maybe 8 months. But I think by the year mark, I'll probably be able to like fully run and engage in certain things and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's been all right, man.
It's doing good. Like, it's not hurting or anything like that right now anymore. Or?
It's a little stiff. But I mean, that's to come with surgery. Plus, I mean, I'm getting up there in age too, so I don't know if it's the surgery or the age.
It's also the physiotherapy part of that, right? So it's like you just...
Yeah, I mean, I've been doing physiotherapy for, the entire time. You go into physiotherapy literally 2 weeks, 9 days after the surgery, and it sucks. Because mine, not to talk so much about my knee, I know we're here for Bakugan, but mine didn't, it didn't take well to the surgery, so like my knee and everything filled up with fluid.
Oh,
so
geez.
I had no movement for that 9 days before seeing the surgeon, and then he had to like release or get rid of like a pint of fluid out of my knee.
Oh, wow.
It was disgusting.
How did that happen, by the way? Did you fall off Drago or something? Or?
No, this was... it actually happened a long time ago. I was on the high school football team. It's a small town, so anyone could get on the football team. The play was done, but a buddy of mine got into a little pushy shove confrontation with someone else, and then that person ended up being pushed into the side of my leg, and then my leg bent the way that it wasn't supposed to.
Ugh.
So, and then I couldn't walk for like 6 months, and then they were like, "Do you want surgery?" And I was like, "No." I just couldn't walk for 6 months. In hindsight, I should have done it, but I didn't do it.
And then you just went like years and years. It just
I went years not doing it, and then I started with the acting thing, and then, like I was saying, like every single moment feels like a grind because you have these auditions that you're not aware of that are coming at any time. They used to be due sometimes the night before, like they just recently switched that. So you would get like 8 pages the night before, and they're like, "This is due tomorrow morning," and you're at work. So you're staying up until the audition to try to figure that out. So it's like that after that, after that, after that. And then finally I built a little bit of a resume. I was like, maybe I should do this now. Because my knee got to a point where any lateral movement, it was literally popping out of place.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
it was pretty.
That's no empty calories. That's pretty bad.
No, it was pretty brutal, dude. It sucked.
Well, I'm glad.
But yeah, now I'm back. I'm ready to go. Next year's gonna be a great year.
Well, and I'm glad that you're doing well and you're able to at least walk.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, but overall, congratulations on everything. By the way, being a part of like Lego and Bakugan, those are 2 major franchises. Again, those are not empty calories. That's pretty huge.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Definitely 2 things that I'm very proud of. They're very, like, I didn't even expect to get into the voice stuff. Like, what happened, it initiated with Lego, right? So I get this audition. Like, I've auditioned for voice stuff before, but it was more so like commercially stuff, like, "Come on down for Tim Hortons $4.99 everything bagel." And I just never was good at that kind of stuff because I have like a high-pitched little kid voice. And usually that they want the Chevy Silverado guy, I'm just not that. And then some cartoon auditions came my way, and Lego was one of them. I auditioned, I think it was for Mateo, who's like the main. Him and Izzy are the 2, I would say, mains of the show. And then I had a callback for him, and then I auditioned for Cooper, and then I had a callback for Cooper, and then I had an in-person audition with like the producers and stuff like that. So it was like 5 in total just to like get the part.
Oh, wow.
And then that happened, and it was like kind of a bit of a learning curve because of I never went to school for that. I just went to school for like on-camera stuff. It is acting, but it is different because on camera you can send a message with like stillness or a movement or something you do with your face. In the voice world, you can think that, but you're like, "Oh, okay, how do I do what I am thinking right here, but now through my voice?" So that was a huge learning experience for me because I was like, "Oh, this is a completely different world." Like similarities, but it definitely is different. There's more. You really have to like nuance your voice. You can't just say something because you have to literally make people feel with your voice because you can't. None of this is on there,
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
and then so it was the Lego thing.
Yeah.
And then that kind of helped because it's such a big thing. So when people see that, they're like, "Oh, he can do this. Maybe he can do this." Like, I've never been offered anything. Don't get me wrong. I've always auditioned for it. But that audition, I was on Blue's Clues. And then I think Bakugan came after that. And again, I auditioned for it in here because I have like my studio. So I have my little voice mic back there. I got a TLM 103. So it's essentially one of the mics that they use in the studio anyways. So I did it here, and then we did it in person, and just had fun with it.
And
then it worked out.
Yeah, that's you sound exactly like Dan.
Yeah, Dan's just a little higher.
Yeah.
And then again, I know that my voice cracks sometimes, okay? It just does. I don't have like, some people have such control over their voice where it's like I'll always put in the work and try my best no matter what. But I don't have like a lifetime of vocal work. Like my voice almost cracked right there. So sometimes when I'm going up high like that, my voice will be like or something weird, and I'm like, oh, dude, what happened there? But you get more than one take, right? So it's nice.
I mean, you did such a phenomenal job with Dan Kouzo. Such a great character, and your performance was absolutely perfect.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate that. Yeah, like the main thing for me was just like, look, I didn't go back and watch all the others. For one, I didn't have enough time to. Like you book something and then you kind of do it almost immediately. So I didn't have time to like backlog everything and go through this thing. And I don't even think I would have anyways, because I'm not going to beat nostalgia. I'm just not. Right. So there's this perfect encapsulated character that you have in your memory. Why would I try to recreate that? Like, this is already perfect for you. For me, I want to try and make you like something new. I'm not trying to compete. I'm not trying to do anything. This is its own thing. So then I'm trying to be the best version of this new Dan. Some people will like it, some people won't. But as long as you put your all into it, then you just live with the results. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I had fun doing it all the time. It was definitely difficult, don't get me wrong, but I just had fun. I just tried to find the most fun I could in every situation. Obviously, there's like sad moments, angry moments, and stuff like that, but I just tried to like get this Dan down the best I could without taking away from the other Dans, you know?
Oh yeah. I've gone on record, and there have been a lot of people that say you're the Tom Holland Dan Kouzo. So like Scott McCord was like Tobey Maguire Dan Kouzo, and then Jonah Whineberg was Andrew Garfield Dan Kouzo. You're the
That's cool.
Tom Holland Dan Kouzo.
Tom Holland's cool.
When you got the audition
so.
When you got the audition for Dan, and then you finally found out you booked the role, what was your reaction to that? Because Dan is the main lead guy; he is the Bakugan guy. So, what was your reaction to getting the lead?
I think my initial reaction is, I think probably like a lot of people's when there's a big project. I think obviously there's a bit of excitement, right? But there's also like nerves. And there's a bit of fear because now you have this entire project not on your back alone. I'm not saying that. Everyone else in the cast did a phenomenal job, and they had huge, massive roles as well. But you get this, and then you think about those other massive roles, and then you think about your massive role, and you're like, I have to make this work. Like, I have to be cohesive with everyone, but I also have to make this work. And so the gears start turning of like what I'm going to do, how I'm going to do it. But then you get in there and then, I don't know, you start to kind of figure it out as you go. Like, I was excited. I was excited, nervous, and scared.
It's because
more so scared came first.
It's because Dan Kouzo is just this character, and then it's the second time they rebooted it, or rebooted his character, and people have this high expectations for him, right?
Yeah, no, for sure. That was another thing. Like, I know how, like, not to repeat myself, but like nostalgia works because there's things that I remember that I was like, oh, I don't know if you can beat that. Like, why would you even touch that? So that kind of runs through your head a little bit. You're like, how am I going to make these fans of the old like this new character? So that happens. But again, like I was saying before, as long as you have fun, then it's okay.
And you definitely did put your own spin on it. It's just like the situation with Will Smith being the genie, taking over from Robin Williams, right? You can't imitate that. So you gotta do your own thing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah. No, that's a great example. I mean, how do you can't recreate Robin Williams? That'd be impossible. Like, you could be like, oh, over here, oh, over here. But you're not going to be able to do Robin Williams how Robin Williams does Robin Williams. So you just have to do it like the best of the best of your ability of the version that you think would suit this character, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And again, absolutely. You've definitely smashed that role. It's,
I appreciate
really
it, man. I had a lot of fun. It was, the first few episodes were kind of like a shock to the system because I didn't fully understand how like dubbing worked, you know?
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't even know if I knew that going into the audition. So in my head I was like, oh, this is kind of like another show or whatever. And then when I went there, like, I obviously went over the lines and stuff like that. You can't memorize them because you don't have the time, unless you're like insanely good at memorizing. If you can memorize 2 30-minute episodes in like 4 days,
you got a photographic memory.
yeah. But I got in there, and then the thing that's tough is it's not so much the lines and fitting it into this space. It's when the mouth closes. So there's like these little mouth flaps, and then when they pause say you have this paragraph, and the mouth closes like 5 times in that paragraph. You're like, okay, so which part of this paragraph goes before the mouth stops? Okay, this part fits in there. And then you got to see where the next part fits in, and the next part fits in. So I got there, and I was like, oh, this is tough. Because you're looking at the screen, the words are there, but you can't just skim on through the words because it's not going to make sense. You're going to go right over the mouth flaps because the mouth flaps are already predetermined because it's already animated.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a shock. But then I think the first few sessions, I think they took like 5 or 6 hours. And I was like, I got to figure this out because I don't like to waste people's time. It's not that I'm wasting time, but it's going on so long where it's like, okay, Dan's coming in. This is going to be like a quarter of a day. So what I did was I just started getting my own system where I would literally go through, because they would send you the episodes, right? And then they would give you the scripts, but sometimes everything is being rewritten constantly, right? That's just the way that this industry is. So what's on the episode, sometimes the words are not even the words that are on the script. So I went through, I watched like meticulously like every single thing, and I would write everything out phonetically, every single moment of Dan. Sometimes there would be like 250 sections in these like 2 episodes, and I would go through every single moment like, okay, is this reaction a closed mouth or is this like a like I wanted to get everything so that I could make it look the best that it could. And no joke, that would take me, it ended up just like the logistics of each episode, it probably took me 10 hours per episode just sitting down and going through it bit by bit. So I would spend my whole Friday on the one episode, and then my whole Saturday on the second episode, and then Sunday I would go over it the best I could, and then I think we would go and do it Monday. So I would spend, it was like every weekend of my summer.
Oh, jeez. And that thing,
Yeah, it was meticulous, man. It's a lot harder than you think if you want to do it properly.
Yeah, that's
you can go in there and wing it, but you're not going to get all the little nuanced stuff, right? And I'm too much of a, I wouldn't say perfectionist, but I don't like leaving stones unturned, I guess.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that's understandable, especially since you've never done dubbing before, right? This is a completely new thing.
Yeah, I mean, it starts to get a little easier, but there's just things you can't get around because it has to fit in certain sections. So you can't be like, oh, I'm just gonna spend 2 hours on this. You can't, because you have to figure it out.
Yeah, and I think that went for like 26 episodes, right? So
yeah.
52 episodes, because it's like they split it in half. But still, that's
yeah.
quite a lot. Because yeah.
And I did that for every single one.
The dedication that you put into making sure it gets perfect, man, that's very admirable.
Well, it's just I know that. See, unlike other, well, I wouldn't say every other professions, but a lot of other professions, your work isn't recorded. Like I get there's a lot of YouTube stuff now, and so there's a lot of recordings of that. But I just mean like teacher, plumber, electrician, stuff like that. Say you mess up a little bit, you can like go in and fix it the next day or something like that. But in our world, yours is, well, if you have live stuff, right?
Yeah.
It's there forever. And I don't want my material that's there forever to be like, I wish I could have done that. I mean, I look back on like maybe the first 6-ish episodes and I'm like, I should have filled that space better. But again, I was learning as I went, right?
Oh, yeah. I think, this actually reminds me of a quote that Jackie Chan once said. When you do something, do the best you can because what you put out will live forever,
Yeah. No, exactly. Like, it's the same thing in the film world. Like, yeah, I mean, you got to go in as prepared as you can be, but then throw it away so you can open the door for like new moments, like real fresh moments, instead of like a thing that you've just ran in your head over and over again, because that'll show. But again, you still want to be like, I kind of want this to look good and believable because so many people are going to watch this, right?
Yeah.
And then there's like an embarrassment that comes with that if you don't do it, I guess, to the best of your ability or what you can do.
And
there's obviously added pressure with like camera, lights, people, it's a whole thing.
There's also no excuses, right? Because like if you put it out there, it turns out to not be the best that you did. You're gonna think, I just didn't have enough time to do that. It was raining that day.
Yeah.
That guy didn't show up. It's like, would you go to every single person's house and tell them that? Like, no. The audience is
no.
Just gonna go.
And that's why if you give it your all.
awful.
Yeah, that's why if you give it your all, you live with the results, right?
Exactly.
So,
yeah. But
I try to do that with everything.
But the second lead, which is Dragonoid, Kyle Derrick.
Yeah, Kyle's great.
Yeah, Kyle is amazing. And he's a Bakugan veteran. What's it like being paired with him, working with him?
I think it's great. I didn't get to meet him too many times. Like you probably already know, we don't get to work with each other, which I think probably makes sense in regards to dubbing, because it would just take too long.
Yeah.
I think like if you focus on one person, then if they miss a slot, then that person can immediately go back, and then you just figure it out as you go. But Kyle's fantastic. He has a great leadership type voice, and he does have kind of a commanding way about him, and he's just good at what he does. So if I'm in the booth and then say I hear him and he's like, Dan Kouzo, like in his voice that he does, I'm like, oh dude, that's awesome. So I gotta match that. Like I can't just come in here and like give something a half-ass attempt if someone that I'm hearing in my ear is giving it 100% and bringing this character to life, right? So working with him through my ears was phenomenal. Every single person was fantastic on the show. Like, I'm not just saying that. It's a very hard thing to do, like I told you before. So the performances that they gave I love it. I loved hearing it. It brings the world to life.
Yeah, it's actually really amazing. The chemistry that you two really have really comes out on screen, and this is despite the fact that you guys are not in the booth at the same time. So that's really great, especially with the sound engineers, Susan Hart's direction. Susan Hart was phenomenal. Like I said before, I try to come in as prepared as possible, and I had ideas written out and stuff like that. So, because you're not going to be on every day, and I'm not going to just depend on, like my spontaneity to be like this every single time. It's just not. You're going to have days where you're off. You're going to have days where you're on. And sometimes, even when I had ideas and like maybe those ideas didn't work, like Susan would come in and give me an example. Like, not just be like, oh, I think you should do this. She would literally do it. And I'm like, oh yeah, that sounds actually pretty good. So she would literally give like this voice performance to get you into what she's thinking. Oh, that's great. Yeah,
it's phenomenal.
That just gives you like a great idea to like what you're supposed to do, right? So
yeah, it helps. And I'm the type of person that like, it's easier for me to understand something when it's done instead of just said, because my mind is still going to kind of interpret it how I'm going to interpret it, right? But yeah, she was phenomenal. Every single person in that booth, like behind there, was phenomenal. They're all nice. Everyone was in a good mood. We just had fun.
It seems really great too. You took over the role of Dan Kouzo from Jonah Whineberg. Jonah Whineberg, he voices Rip now. And
okay,
yeah, so he voices Rip in Gen 3, but he was Dan Kouzo in Gen 2, and I know that you two did have a scene together in the show where you meet Rip and Razor for the first time, and that was Is he the guy that was on the beach? Yeah, he was the surfer dude.
Yeah, okay, yeah. No, he even in that limited space, he did a phenomenal job. So I don't think I got to meet him in person. It'd be cool to get like all three Dans on an episode somehow. Yeah. Like we just meet in some way, or like that Spider-Man get.
Yeah. I mean, we did talk about that with Julius and Kyle even, and actually Jason too. Jason DeLine, who was the original Dragonoid before Kyle Derrick, and how cool it would be to do a crossover of like all three gens. So like Gen 1 Dan, so you'd have Scott McCord, you have Jonah Whineberg, you have Mike Taylor, and starring as like all three Dans coming together in like this huge Bakugan movie.
Yeah, it'd be fun. I mean, and it's absolutely possible because it's fantasy, right? You can essentially do whatever you want.
Yeah, I don't know if you watched this, but Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! Did something like that too, like for its 10th anniversary. They had like the protagonists of the three series like come together to fight this one dude. You obviously know Spider-Man.
I've seen bits of Yu-Gi-Oh! I think what I remember from Yu-Gi-Oh! Is everyone liked was it like Blue Eyes White Dragon? Or there was some sort of card where everyone was like, "That's the card, man."
Yeah, so it was Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Yeah. That's all I remember from it. There was that, and then there was like Digimon too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Digimon.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's gotten a revival these days because Digimon has a card game, and that's like going on.
Yeah. How do you not to like maybe this is your question later on. I don't want to get ahead of it, but because you said game, is there anything that you would like personally, because you obviously play and stuff like that you would add or fix about because I've never played the game. I don't know how it works or anything like that. I know it's like this tiny little arena, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then you guys like, is it a rip thing now?
Yeah. So you put the thing in the ripcord in, and then you engage the motor by pulling it, and then place it down. You watch them fight each other like Beyblades.
Oh wow, yeah, that is like Beyblade.
And then they'll pop up, and that's why we call it Bakugans.
That's great. It'd be cool to have like really long ripcords. So it's like, ooh.
Oh yeah.
That'd be sick.
I mean, the ripcord is already like this long.
Oh, is it already long? Okay,
it's already pretty long. So like they'll spin for like a while and hit each other, and then maybe they'll pop open. But the game is like super randomized. Like there's no skill or anything involved, which is not what Bakugan was really about, right? So,
gotcha.
Yeah, but however,
yeah, they should.
There is like character cards you have to flip over. Again, it's like random. It's like randomized. You flip over the top deck, and that's it. There's there's Dan cards. There's Mia.
There's Dan cards.
Oh yeah. There's Dan cards. I think I have a lot of them actually.
Yeah, they gave me a little like souvenir toy when I left. It's still in the package. It was just like this little ball type thing.
Oh, okay. So they probably gave you a Dragonoid then, or
yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yeah, they probably gave you a Drago. It's just a ball thing. But what I would change about the Gen 3 game, add some skill to it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like it's all purely randomized. There's no skill involved. Like change the card aspects to like maybe instead of like flipping over the card, you would just have the cards in your hand, and then you would play them after the Bakugan pop open, so that it's not completely randomized.
Cool.
That's one thing I would change about it. I have like a whole video that talks about the whole Gen 3 game. It's
okay. That's fair. Yeah, my apologies for skipping to a completely random thing.
It's fine.
I heard game and I was like, there's a game with this thing. So
I don't expect you to. I don't expect you to watch it because a lot of the times this Bakugan is like a collectible toy game, right? So like collectible toys, that's pretty much what it is. People just want it just for the cool figures, right? So
yeah, the little souvenir I have, I'll sign it and send it to you if you want it.
Oh no, it's totally fine. It's
I'll do it. I don't care.
You don't have to do that. It's totally
just send me your address and I'll send it to you.
I'll you know what, I'll send you my address if you send me your PO box or something, and I'll send something to you as well.
Yeah, sweet. Sounds good.
So I wanted to ask you, the first time that you ever recorded Dan, what that experience was like. Try to recap that as best as possible.
So did you say as fast as possible?
Or as best as possible.
Oh, okay. Just start rattling off really quickly. No, it the first time, like I was mentioning before, it was kind of a shock. I was excited, but I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. Like I went in there, and I had the lines and stuff like that. I went over, and then you stand there, and you have your little board here with your lines and stuff like that, and obviously the mic, and then there's a TV in front of you, and then there's lines. The lines like kind of slide along the bottom of the TV. So you're looking at the lines because you don't have them memorized, because I mean, good luck doing that. So you're reading the lines, and then there's the face. You're trying to match the lines to the mouth, and it was just a shock experience, but it was a good shock because it made me want to really work hard at it. And it was cool just to see like the animation and then my voice to the animation, because it's like instant gratification. Because when I do like Lego, I go in there, I do it however I feel. Like I write probably like 6-7 different ways that I could say just every single line. But I don't get to see how that turns out or which one they choose. until the actual show comes out. But then with Bakugan, you do it and say you do a good one, and then they're like, oh, we'll play that back and then see if it works. So you get to hear it immediately.
Oh.
So that was cool. It was cool to see, like, literally the show form in front of your face. At least the voice part.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Because the animation, like, obviously it's already there because they do that in Japan. I think Kyle mentioned this on your interview, but like that language, they can take few words to say a lot of things, whereas we take a lot of words to say sometimes almost nothing. But it's so that was definitely interesting as well, because you see these mouth flaps and you're like, whoa, you said all of this in that amount of time. Like it was wild to see. It's like our language is inflation compared to theirs. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I know.
Like we just have to say so much to say such little.
Yeah, I know.
So it's interesting.
Yeah, I partially speak Japanese, so I know.
That's awesome.
So I know like what it's like. I've been to Japan. I tried to like talk to the locals and all that stuff in Japanese. So I know, and sometimes I would say like not that much things in order to like make a sentence, and yeah, and they definitely animate it with Japanese dialogue in mind, because that's how it's written, right? So that's
yeah.
That's how they're originally animated.
And another thing that was interesting is like I said before, there's ways that I would want to say certain things, but you can't, because you have to fit it in a certain way. Like if it was like if you prefer to say like, oh, okay, but you could only fit in, oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
So then you have to figure out how to make that reaction somehow fit in that time, because this reaction is probably how it should be, but you can't do that there. So I would try to fit it, or I would literally change the words to see if it was something in there that I could make work. So that was interesting on the first day as well, just to see how everything worked. Like it was a wild experience.
And that's an experience that I'm pretty sure you're going to remember for quite a long time, because I'm very sure that Bakugan's not going to be the first anime that you dub over. I'm pretty sure that you're...
Yeah, no, it was fun. Now that I know how to do it and I have like my own system of how I do things, moving forward, it's a little easier.
Maybe we can get you on the Gundam anime.
Yeah, dude, I'm down for whatever. I just like performing. So, whatever is out there. I would love for, like a Bakugan movie type thing. Yeah. However that would be. Because, like, 26 episodes of dubbing is taxing. Like, it does, like, it requires a lot of commitment, a lot of time. And if you take that on, you're going to evidently miss out on a bunch of other things. Yeah. Whether that be your entire summer. Because I have a lot of friends back home, like in the countryside where I'm from. They work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, right? So this was a lot of work on the weekends, like every single weekend. So then the time that they would be available, I was working, so it just never worked out. So there's things like that you have to take into consideration, right?
And as we're recording this podcast, we're recording this on a Sunday, so I really appreciate that you got the time.
I'm not doing anything anyway, so, and this has been a long time coming, so.
Yeah, I'm just glad.
Sorry that I haven't really been available.
Oh no, it's totally fine. You know, you're a pretty busy person, so I never want to like push you into like doing this. Just whenever you have the time.
Oh, dude, I'm happy to do it. I mean, like I said before, you and the other YouTubers who like do a lot of Bakugan stuff, you're just as important as the people on the show and behind the scenes. And that's a fact, because YouTube is such a huge thing. The audience that you reach is like every single kid. You know what I mean? So it's very important. So you're doing just as much work as I'm doing, if not more. So
thank you so much, man.
I'm happy to be on here as well.
There's one episode that I wanted to really like dive into.
Which episode?
The corn dog episode, the one where Dan sings that corn dog song and Drago hosts it. God, what was your thought process when they told you were gonna do that, and you think, oh my god, and what were you thinking when you saw that?
I mean, like anything, I see it and I'm like, all right, let's figure this out. Let's see if it works. I thought it was it was interesting. I think even with that, like, because the way that the dubbing and stuff worked from like the translating to Japanese to English, it was hard to fit certain things. So like even with that, I'm pretty sure like I wrote some things in there to shorten it up and stuff like that. But it's the first time I've ever sang about corn dogs. So that was something. I forget how it goes. It's something like I'm the corn dog man or something like that. But yeah, it's a good video in regards to that episode, because I think that's where... Does Drago leak that?
Drago like originally made it, but then
and then it got...
He changed his mind.
Yeah.
He put it in the recycle bin, but somehow...
In the Insect Land?
Yeah.
Was it the Insect Land?
Yeah, and / somehow hacked into them, went into the recycling bin for some reason, and then just leaked it.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a good video to be embarrassed about. But yeah, when I was in the booth, I was obviously like, if you look outside yourself for a second and you're there being like, the corn dog man, you're like, all right, dude.
Was everybody in the behind the glass just bursting with tears, like laughing their ass off?
There's always some chuckles in like certain areas of the show for sure. And like I was saying before, like Susan Hart, just even like her input. So like if I'm doing it, she's like, oh, you should try like on the corn dog. Like she'll give me examples as well. So it's like we're just all singing about corn dogs in this recording studio, you know? So if anyone were to walk in, they'd be like, what are you guys doing? You know?
I know if I was a producer and I was telling you, hey Mike, sing about the corn dog, take one, and like everyone's silent, you can't hear us, we would just be like
yeah, you know what would have been great is if that was just to make me sing about corn dogs and they didn't even put it in the show. They're like, oh yeah, dude, sing about corn dogs. It was just for their entertainment.
It's just one big prank.
That'd have been great. Yeah, another memorable moment from doing the show, like in the booth. I don't know this person's name, but I know that they're like a prominent figure in the Japanese version. I don't know if it was like creator, producer, whatever, but I show up to the booth to do like a couple episodes and they're like, oh, such and such is here. And he was there with either his grandson and his granddaughter, or it was his son and daughter. And they just watched me do it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was like, it was someone from there, because they were talking about like the similarities and differences of like how they do it there opposed to like here. When they do it over there, everyone's in the booth together. Like one person, it's like a lineup. One person will go and do their thing, and then the next person goes after.
Oh,
but we don't do that. We do it one at a time.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah. That makes quite a lot of sense, actually. That they would want to observe how they do it, like everywhere else. You know, not just the English part. You know, the German and the Russian dubbing and all that stuff.
Yeah, I had no idea that was happening. So like, I show up and then they're like, oh, by the way, and I was like, okay, thanks. No pressure. No, but like I obviously, like I was saying, I write everything out phonetically, so I was as prepared as I could be to try to make it look like the best it could for these individuals. So
were they like, Mike, you were good, but today you have to be perfect. This person is here.
Yeah. No, it was fun. I like again, I don't know if it was his grandchildren or his children, but like I believe they came in the booth as well and were just pretending to do lines on the mic and stuff like that. So it was like a fun little experience for everyone.
When you recorded Dan Kouzo and season's over, you did all of your 52 episodes. It's all done. The show goes on. Everyone loves it. It's a pretty good show. What did you learn the most about yourself being Dan Kouzo?
What I learned about myself as a performer is that I have and I knew this prior, but in terms of like this sort of avenue, I have the ability to dig deep in areas I didn't think I could and somewhat make it work. So it gave me like a little bit more of like an air of confidence when it comes to voiceover work. Now, don't get me wrong, I have miles to go and it's not going to be for everyone. But like I am proud of it, you know. Like I was at the end of it all, I was proud of what I did because I worked really hard on it. And for the people that do like it, thank you. And for the people that don't, thank you as well, because you watched, you know. I don't have any sort of negative thing to say to anyone because you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. It just is what it is. But yeah, it made me more confident in this field because I was able to pull something off that I didn't think that I could initially, you know? Mm-hmm. So it was like a nice learning experience. And it's like in the show itself, Dan has like growth, right? Because he starts off as kind of a dick, you know?
Yeah.
But eventually he like learns how to let go of the reins a little bit and be more of like a group sort of leader instead of just a singular leader. Like, I'm the best, I'm gonna do this. Like he like gives the reins to, who was it? Was it TC? I think he let him into one of the battles that he should have done. Yeah, where like TC. Dan in the beginning, he probably never would have allowed that. So it was like I was growing in a different way, but we were both growing in our own ways as we went. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
it was cool. Yeah,
I said this in my review. I said this in my review, but like, yeah, Dan does go through a character development phase. Yeah,
it took a bit to get there, and I think like, I think some people were like, is this guy going to be a dick the entire time? And like, I already knew the episodes, right? So I was like, it's coming, but obviously you can't say anything. But yeah, he eventually does. I think it's a good payoff because you have to get sick of someone a little bit to like appreciate their change, you know? If someone immediately is just a better person, you're like, oh, okay, maybe he was just having a bad day. But if someone is kind of like this type of person for a while, and then they have this like actual growth, you're like, oh, like he learned something, you know?
Yeah, that's pretty much Dan. I think that's Dan's entire character throughout all three generations, because like he starts off as arrogant and all that's just like a hotshot. Like he grows into like a leader and all that.
Yeah, it was definitely fun. I like I was saying, I didn't watch any of the second generation, and I just checked out a little bit of the first, just like the very first episode, because I wanted to see what it looked like. I really like the old school animation.
Oh yeah, it's
like I thought that Dan might have looked cooler than my Dan, if I'm gonna be honest. So when I saw it, I was like, "Oh, dude, look at his hair."
Yeah, it's like
this is awesome.
More
it's like a spiky. Yeah.
Morphe and spiky and all that stuff. Dan's is like slicked. The Gen 3 Dan is like slicked back, but he has like the red.
A little red in there. Yeah.
But I think it's like a nod of like the second generation Dan Kouzo. So.
Yeah. What do you think it would be cool to I mean, I don't know if this would like help toy sales or anything, and this is just a random thought in my head because, I mean, we're talking. Do you think it'd be a cool idea to get like a golden ticket? Like, say there was like 5 golden tickets in these toys, and then the consumer, fans and stuff like that, they buy these toys, and then say they get these tickets, then they get to be like a secondary character in the show or something. You know?
Oh, that would be sick.
It makes you like more involved. And you're like, oh, it'd be cool. Like, I get to be a part of this franchise that I've been watching for however long you've been watching it. It's just a cool concept. It allows you to like actually dive into the world more than you ever could. You know what I mean?
I think that would be sick. You know, and along with like getting casted like that, they would offer you acting training, right? They would train you and say, this is how you act. This is what you're going to be doing. This is how you do it. So just be ready, and then then you're able
put you in like an episode or something. Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, then you'd be able to,
and like more people would be engaged, and then be like, oh, dude, you could probably do this. Just go buy some, and it would be like this whole like domino effect of people being more interested.
Yeah. Legally wise, I'm not sure how that would be, but I'm pretty sure Spin Master lawyers can like figure that out.
Yeah,
but
I've watched
pretty cool
Willy Wonka. Okay, I know it works.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. That would totally be pretty. That was pretty cool idea. But yeah, season 2 of Bakugan Gen 3. They teased it at the end of season 1. But I don't know if you know this. But like, it's not, season 2 is not greenlit yet. As of the time of this recording, Spin Master has, or at least someone at Spin Master has said Bakugan is on pause, so it's on hiatus right now. Okay. So I just want to ask, like, what was your reaction to that?
If you like dive into like the economy, not to be boring talk and stuff like that, but a lot of things in that time, and even still now, are not doing that great because inflation is so high. Like core CPI and everything it's too high right now. Everything is so expensive. So people can't afford to buy toys, and toys usually drive a show. And it's like, it's not that I expected it 100%, but when you have a massive pandemic and essentially, in my opinion, a recession, they just didn't want to call it a recession. They changed the definition of a recession during that period. It's almost to be expected. Like, if I don't know how much money Spin Master has, I would assume probably a lot, but
that's a lot.
I know that they're a business, and businesses like to make money. So if, say, you are losing period after period after period, and there's a clear blueprint of why, or at least partially why, you're going to be like, okay, let's put this on hold for a bit so we can like come back when things are actually doing better. It would make more sense. Like,
Yeah.
Like that, I feel like that's a boring answer, but
no.
That's kind of how I would probably look at something as well.
And that makes a lot of sense, at least to me, because like I've been keeping an eye on Spin Master's reports, and a lot of and also a lot of world catastrophes. Life's hard right now, and you got oh god, I don't really want to like bring this up a little bit, but it's the real world, right? You got the Palestinian Israel conflict, you got Russia and Ukraine and all that stuff, right? You got
I mean, there's inflation. It's like constant conflict. So there's like one thing after the next, after the next, after the next, and it's like
trade war of China. It's it's everything. And importing, exporting is like it's getting more and more expensive to like ship stuff into the country and all that stuff. So
yeah, 100%. So it's like, and again, this didn't happen to everyone, but it's like, do I want to buy milk, bread, and eggs, or do I want to buy a Bakugan arena? Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it kind of got pretty tight there for a while for a lot of people, and it's pretty understandable to kind of hold back on things that aren't necessarily a necessity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I don't know.
First, right? So.
I don't know what's going to happen moving forward. Like, I haven't heard any news about anything. I would imagine I would imagine like all the animation is already done because it's just taking from something that's already done, right?
Yeah.
So I would assume it's there. And if they want to start it up whenever they feel is a good enough time, I'm sure they'll crank it back up.
I have heard though that the animation. I think Kyle told me this. But someone else also told me this. The animation is practically, I want to say like 75% done. Like they started the animation way before the end of the first season, right? But the animation is practically done. It's just just need to be greenlit and be finished, and save for a couple of editing, finishing touches, obviously voices.
Yeah, and like that's like. That's the most expensive part. Like, we are definitely not the most expensive part. Like, in terms of dubbing and stuff like that, I will tell you that for sure.
You should be the most expensive part.
Not even close. And that's not. It is what it is. But once that stuff's done, like getting us on board, that's not a huge thing. In regards to like animation and all that stuff, it's just not. So once that's done, then I think it'll be like there'll be a high chance of it coming back.
Obviously, season 2, like it's not greenlit, but however, on the chance that it does get greenlit, you'll obviously come back, right?
Yeah, I will come back for sure. I think the only thing that I would do is maybe see if I could change the record date, like the day each week. Like maybe do it during, like if I had Monday to Tuesday to go over it, then I could like record Wednesday or Thursday. So it would like open up more stuff for me. But yeah, it's definitely a commitment. For sure. But yeah, of course, I love to perform. So, I mean, I would love for them to do like a movie, but they have to close out season 2 though, because they left it on a cliffhanger, didn't they?
Yeah. Like I said, I would love for them to do a movie, and we would definitely like you have you on board, along with Jonah Whineberg and Scott McCord, and also obviously Jason DeLine and Kyle Derrick as well, because they're the Dragonoids.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Yeah, so you would obviously sign on for that, right? So
yeah, of course. Because like we can't just leave all the fans on a cliffhanger. Like, I mean, if that's what the fans wanted, like, you know what I mean? Like, I know that some people may be torn on which Dan they would prefer, and that's totally okay. I understand that everyone has their own preference. So if that's what fans wanted, then for sure. But if they wanted someone else, I totally understand. Like, you like what you like, and I'm never gonna try to, make you like me just because I want you to like me, But I'll always try my best, and that's all I can do. So.
I think that would be the reason why people would like you.
I appreciate that. Yeah. I mean, I have to try my best, because if you're gonna give your time and watch a show, I better do a good job so your time is not wasted.
Yeah, and we appreciate that so much. But if they did a movie, you would obviously would you clear your schedule just so you can record that movie?
Oh yeah, a movie. I think it would It would be fun because I think with the movie you could probably get multiple people in the booth and stuff like that because yes, it's a big project, but if you were to take the length of a movie compared to the length of an entire season, it's not even close, right? So everyone could probably be in there, you'd bounce off each other, just having fun and stuff like that. It'd be a whole thing. Because I don't really... that live thing that we did with the readings and stuff like that, that's the most I've interacted with the cast.
Oh, wow, yeah.
For the entire... like 26 episodes, or if 52, I guess, if they're split in half.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about the Bak-Again live stream because like that was a really big thing, and that we've done. That's probably the biggest thing that I've ever done as like a YouTuber. And thank you again so much for coming on to that. Every script or every fan script that's submitted that needed you absolutely nailed every single part.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, I got them, and I was obviously the fans are taking their time to write these scripts. So, I mean, if you're putting effort in, I'm going to put effort in. That's just, that's a mutual respect. But yeah, I've read them over before, and I just try to do the best that I could, so then the fans weren't let down.
Hey, and they were like absolutely blown away. Like everyone that like wrote the scripts and they needed you to voice whatever character was in it, whether it be Dan or someone else, you knocked it out of the park, like absolute home run.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. The only thing that I obviously didn't know at the time was like you got me to read something, and I didn't even know what that was. Like, so you're like, do you mind reading this? And I was like, yeah, no problem. Is that like from like Gen 1 or Gen 2 or something like that?
That was the original intro. Like before every episode starts, even before the theme song starts, that's what Scott McCord's Dan Kouzo would be reading out.
Gotcha.
Every single.
Yeah, so I had no idea what it was. As one of the fan scripts were being read, I looked over that, right, and I was like, okay, and then I just read it. However, I thought it was supposed to be read. So, yeah, that was fun. It was fun to kind of do that in the moment. I didn't know what it was.
That was absolutely amazing, though, that you didn't know what that was, but you nailed it. Like that was absolutely.
Thanks, man.
That was like perfect. One take too.
Yeah, it was definitely. I love being in moments like that though, because it like keeps you on your heels, and there's that little bit of like you get like butterflies, and you're like, okay, let's go. It's fun.
You know what?
That like unknown.
You know what? I really want. You know what? I did make like an edit of that. Like I edited that and like with clips, and put it with the original Bakugan Battle Brawlers theme song, and put it over the Gen 3 show. I really want to send that to Scott. Like send that reading that you did to Scott McCord.
That'd be cool.
See what his reaction would be like to that. Because
have you ever interviewed like any of the people behind the scenes, like Susan or anyone like that?
That would be really cool because like I'm a really big fan of like how her voice direction was.
Yeah.
Like,
well, if we ever go back, I have no real pull in this situation, but I'll definitely bring you up and be like, hey man, this guy Haru is like very knowledgeable about the Bakugan world. He's done some great work, praises the show, does all good stuff for it to get fans engaged, etc., etc. You should like give him some of your time. Like I'd word it maybe differently than that, to not like, hey, give him your time, but like he would really be great in an interview with you.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah,
of course, man. I
awesome.
wanted to get you on the show.
Yeah,
if I could,
I saw that Instagram post, and I'm like, you watched every single review. I'm like,
I like when people are nice. Well, I mean, I'd be nice regardless, but I like giving back if I can, man. you know?
I appreciate it so much when I saw that Instagram post saying, "Hey, can we probably get Haru in on in season 2?" I'm like, "What? I'm not a voice actor."
I don't see why we couldn't, man. Like if we do go back and if something does happen, dude, I'm still gonna advocate for that.
Oh, thank you so much.
And I'd be like, "Oh, you know who'd be good at this?" Just every day, "Hey, you know who'd be good at this?"
I mean, I probably wouldn't play like when that Instagram post came up, and then my fans were like saying, "Yeah, you should do it. Like you should play the villain." I'm like, "No, I don't want to play like a reoccurring guy. Like I want to play one episode, one guy that's maybe like screaming and running away. That's probably
perfect. That's completely doable. We'll got to get you like 1 or 2 lines.
Maybe I'll play the news guy. Maybe I'll play the news guy. That's like
the news guy.
The news guy that's like reporting on like what was going on with like this.
Oh yeah.
This the new Bakugan world has changed with these new BAM zones, right? But
yeah.
But except
that'd be cool. It'd be cool if they could like also like kind of take a still from one of your YouTube videos or something like that and actually animate like you know?
Oh, that would be sick. Yeah, it would be like
maybe they could just play yourself. Like maybe Dan's on like the computer or something and he's like looking at a review of something you're doing.
Oh,
like,
man.
you know?
Oh man, that would be cool. Like that would be
that'd be
amazing.
Great.
Like
you could literally be reviewing Bakugan.
Dan would probably
because he'd be like
scrolling through it. There would be a video of me, and he just did a battle that was like streamed, and I'm just reviewing that battle stream, and I'm just like, man, Drago should have done this, but that's just me Baku talking.
Yeah, there you go. Like I think that would be perfect, man.
That's my audition.
Do it
as you will, Susan.
Clip this, clip it, and send it. I 1,000% will continue to push for that.
Thank you so much, man.
Because why not?
And I'll
of course
just to make it cost efficient, I will fly myself out there to Toronto. They don't even have to pay me. I'll just go in and they'll be like, "Hey, I'm doing this for free. I'm not doing much. I'm not doing."
Even if you couldn't do that, like you have a mic, right?
Oh yeah. It's like
you could even probably do it remote if you needed to.
Probably, yeah. I'm just really like, I don't want a huge role. I'm not doing as much as like Mike and Kaya and Safira, but so don't pay me. I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah. Yeah, Kaya and Safira, they were both really good too. Like she played Mia, right?
Yes.
She played Mia very, very, very well.
I loved her performance as Mia.
Yeah. Yeah, no, she's such a perfect, like, she has a perfect anime voice.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, she did a really, really good job. I believe she's a singer. Like, she, like, sings stuff and stuff like that. And she was in, like, that
Timbits, she's a musician.
Musical or something recently. She's very, very talented.
Would there ever be a time when like you would hang out with all the misfit brawlers in real life? Just like you could break the internet. It's just you, Kaya, Safira, Kyle, Kyle, and like everyone else like that was part of the misfit clan. Just like hanging out at like a sushi restaurant or something. You take a selfie, and then it's like the misfit clan is reunited.
Yeah, of course. I think it was Christina. She played Ventry.
Christina Novas.
Yeah. Of course, I would hang out with all of them anytime. It would be nice to even just have a meetup somewhere and just hang out because we did an entire season of an animated show. We never really had that. Like I do remember a little bit. Because I do watch your videos, because I appreciate them.
Thank you so much.
Your interview with Kyle, I believe he mentioned that he was advocating for a rap party.
Oh, yeah.
But we never really had that. I mean, guess we could obviously do it ourselves. But it is nice for a company to put it together and kind of do that whole thing. So you get to meet everyone behind the scenes and stuff like that. But yeah, no, that never happened. So yeah, I guess it would be kind of good to do that ourselves, get together.
Yeah, you would break the entire Bakugan community. Just like take a picture with everybody. Just like the Misfit Class reunited, Gen 3.
We're just in Jackassers doing our voices. She's like, what do you want? You're like, you get the steak. And then Drago's like, me too.
That would be pretty.
They'd be like, what are you guys doing?
That sounds like a video. That sounds like a cool video idea.
Oh, it'd be hilarious. I don't even know if I would just laugh the whole time, I think.
Has anyone ever told you that you kind of look like MatPat from Game Theory?
Who?
MatPat from Game Theory.
MatPat?
MatPat.
I don't believe so. I don't even know who that is or what that is.
Oh,
is that like is that a cartoon?
No, he's a YouTuber. He does game.
Oh.
Theory. He does like theory, like lore talk for video games. He's like, he's the guy that's like, that's just a theory.
No, I'll look him up though for sure. To see what you're talking about.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. But yeah, I've heard people saying, Mike Taylor kind of looks like MatPat. I'm like, he kind of does.
I'll take it.
So I will open you up to Discord questions because on my Discord server, I have asked fans, hey, you have any questions for Mike Taylor? And by the way, if you guys are interested in joining the conversation, the BakuTalk Discord server is open. Please definitely give it a join. The link in the description. But yes, I have opened you up to questions from the fans. So people in the Discord server ask you some questions. So I'll read them out to you right now.
I'll try my best to answer them.
Yeah. So Noria asks, chicken nuggies or tenders? I'm going to turn this light on. It's getting dark here.
Oh, chicken nuggies or... I'm going to have to go tendies. I mean, McDonald's chicken nuggies are pretty good. But if you get like a nice chicken tender, it's so much more meat.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to go tendies.
You get more meat for your money, right?
Hey, yeah, dude, that's a slogan. More meat for your money. So, yeah, Maria, I would 100% go tendies, but if you're a nuggie gal, that is also acceptable because they both taste fantastic.
The red dragon asks, what's your favorite part from the series?
What's my favorite part from the series? I'm gonna have to say probably when Dan starts to become more of an actual brother figure to TC, because that made me see more of the human side of Dan. I know he's just an animation, but you can kind of relate to situations more like that. I can't really relate to, Baku brawls because it doesn't happen in real life. I know you can displace that and be like, well, this is a battle with this, and you can battle other things, so to make the connection. But like on a real emotional human level, that was probably it was one of my favorite parts for sure. Like the emotional connection that Dan formed with TC.
Yeah, that was a really great part of the show too. It's definitely helped with developing Dan's character, but it also grew TC's character as well, because TC's brother or real actual brother is the bad guy, right? But he has to choose between.
One other thing, and this has nothing to it doesn't have nothing to do with the show, but the intro music to this season, it was fire, dude. Like that was I would listen to that song just like on its own.
Yeah, that's actually a really great tune.
Yeah, that's because they played it for me before we like dove into everything. They're like, you got to check out this intro, and I was like, absolutely. And then they played it, and they had all like those speakers in the studio, right? So I heard it on that level, and it was awesome. Yeah, so definitely the TC thing, but I do really like the intro.
Baku Seeker, Signer Dragon. Oh god, there's some numbers here, but I'm not going to bother with that. Hi Mike, hope you're doing well. Thank you for playing one of my favorite takes on Dan in recent memory and for joining the Bakugan stream. It was great having you for that. With Nilius brought down once and for all and the clan seemingly united, what do you suppose is next for Dan? Getting a new insect brawler for the Misfit clan, finishing a lifetime supply of corn dogs for saving the city, or selling a prank war with Juno that got put on hold over the Vicar encounter?
Well, because I'm Dan, probably all the above. Lifetime supply of corn dogs, it's going to depend if I have enough mustard, because Dan really likes mustard. But yeah, essentially what's next for Dan, right? I think Dan would probably do all those things. I feel like what's next for Dan is probably more, I would say more brawling. There's going to be another bad guy. There's going to be someone that picks up that mask, and he's going to have to go probably do the situation all over again. But what comes with this next phase of Dan is like more of a team player. So Dan, what's next for Dan is him continuing to evolve into a better person, a better leader, and a better Dan.
Starship Astronaut C asks, did you enjoy your time on the show? Like, what experience did you gain from voice acting?
Yeah, I know. I definitely enjoyed my time on the show. One of the things that this show actually taught me, I would probably say the many things, is like writing things out specifically. Like, say I had this section where there was the mouth flaps and stuff like that. I would, on this page, so here's the dialogue, and then like this is me looking at it. So here's this page of dialogue. Here's like the blank page before it. I would write out this side on this side with like it's like mouth flap, and I would just call it a pause. So I just put P, and then say there was like an open mouth gasp or something like that. I would put like OM for like open mouth, so I know what it is, and then I would go like, ah! Like just write something down in there. It taught me to be more specific, I guess, if that's, I don't know why I run on these long answers.
No.
Yeah, it taught me to be more specific moving forward. So like even with Lego, before, like say season 1, I would look at it and I would just like make like little marks or something like that and be like, oh, maybe that's that. Now with Lego, I will literally write out every single line that there is at least 6 times. So then I can go on with like an array of things specific, because I'm not sure exactly what one's going to work the best on the day, but it should be in one of those. And if it's not, then it's okay, because I can like, I know I've done all that work, and then I can like improv a little bit and maybe find something else. So it's just specific. Be specific.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's that was pretty great, and thank you again for answering those questions.
And thank you people in the Discord who asked those questions. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to ask those questions, and I appreciate you watching the show. So thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for being Dan and being so dedicated to your craft as you are. This has been a pretty amazing time.
Thanks, man. I was nervous thinking that I couldn't fill time, but then I get on here and I'm like, just like flapping my gums away. It's like, whoa, dude, relax. No. This was a really engaging conversation. You know, that's pretty much what this is. We're just like two dudes hanging out and talking the day away. Oh God. Yeah, of course, man.
Oh God. We've been at this for like over an hour now, like hour and 20 minutes, I think.
Oh wow, that actually went pretty fast.
Yeah, it went.
I didn't expect that to go so fast.
Fast, and it's getting dark out at where I am. I've got a feeling that someone's gonna pull the hook and like force me out of this by now. But
yeah, thank you for the conversation, and thank you for having questions ready. I hope that I answered some of them in kind of a way that answered what, or at least got to a point of what you were looking for. I know that I can sidetrack myself a lot. I think that I got like ADHD or something.
No.
But yeah, thank you.
Yeah, and thank you. I appreciate you so much. Thank you so much again for being Dan Kouzo. But just another question, though.
Of course.
Who's V in season 2?
Oh, I guess you're gonna have to just find out. I just closed the laptop. No, I have no idea. Like, honestly, you know more than I do about this show, about the show's previous, about probably the trajectory of the show. Like, you're very knowledgeable on Bakugan in its entirety, so you could probably stir up some sort of imagination as to what's going to happen and who it's going to be.
I think it's Dan's long lost brother.
That'd be cool. That would make a fun story arc for sure. Because I have like a newfound like brother figure in TC, and then now I have an actual long lost brother, so that would be an interesting complex for Dan.
That would be reflective, because like TC's brother was V, and now Dan's brother is V.
Yeah, and maybe this new Dan was kind of like how I was in the beginning of the show, and I get to see kind of how like rude and mean I was, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like that's how I was. So then now it's like old Dan with new Dan, and it would be like this butting head situation trying to figure each other out.
You know what? Maybe it wouldn't be a long lost brother. It would be an alternate version of Dan, like an alternate timeline Dan that just came to this to like try to like control Bakugan in order to prevent a certain future from happening, right? So
I like that. Even if he like came and then maybe even like kidnapped me somehow and put me somewhere where people didn't know, and then he just kind of played Dan and like nobody really knew, but they like slowly figured out that things were a little bit off with him and stuff like that.
Yeah, it would kind of explain why he was watching Dan on TV at the end of that season.
Yeah, I think it'd be good. Oh, dude, why don't you just get into the writer's room, you know? I'm gonna get you on the show one way or another, dude.
If I'm not gonna be a voice cameo, I'm gonna be one of the writers.
Oh, dude, you can just write yourself in.
Oh, that would be cool.
Problem solved.
But yeah, Mike, again, thank you so much for coming on. And I'll end this conversation how I end every conversation nowadays. Okay. Gratitude has become such an important part of my life. So what are 3 things right now that you're grateful for?
What are 3 things that I am grateful for? I'm grateful to be alive. I'm grateful that everyone else on the planet is alive, or at least the ones that are. And what else am I grateful for? I gotta say my girlfriend, or else, I don't want that backlash. I'm very grateful for my girlfriend. That's the easy. I am really grateful for my girlfriend. But yeah, that's got to be the third. You know what? That's the first. Okay, safe answer.
There you go.
But yeah, no, I'm grateful for a lot of things, man. I don't think there's really a thing that I'm not grateful for. Even the things that are bad, they're essentially just lessons. Even the failures, fail forward, keep going, continue. Not everything's going to be perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just as long as you keep working on yourself to get to the better version of yourself. That's all,
Yeah. And that's really great. And yeah, I think that's a pretty good way to leave it off. Thank you so much again, Mike, for coming on. This has been an amazing time.
Oh, thank you. And another thing I'm grateful for, you.
Oh, thank you so much. And I'm grateful for you as well.
Yeah, thanks, brother. I appreciate that.
But where can they find you? Do you have like socials or anything like that, or do you have any projects you want to tease?
I have I'm not a huge like social media guy. I should be, because I'm in the field of like promoting and stuff like that. But I just like to, I don't know. But I do have Instagram. It's Mike TW Taylor. And then that's it, because my name is Michael Thomas Wesley Taylor. Yeah, it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't have like YouTube or anything like that. So it's just Instagram.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's great. I'll leave it's just right there below or over there or where.
Yeah,
wherever I put this. Spoiler warning: everything's done in post. But yeah, thank you so much again.
Cool, man.
Thank you.
You're so very welcome, man.
Thank you so much again for coming on, and thank you guys for watching again. Support BakuTalk by pressing the thumbs up and give us a subscribe for more awesome Bakugan content. I've been Haru Ren. This has been Mike Taylor. There's some confetti falling for some reason, and thank God for rapid fire.